I'm a 19-year-old United States Marine. I am stationed on the East Coast, and I live on base. I'm 5'8", and I weigh only 138 pounds. I work a lot, so I don't go out much like other Marines because of the job I have that requires me to be on call 24/7. On occasion, when I do have the time off, I usually drink and party with fellow Marines, guys I consider closer than brothers. Being a Marine is all about your relationship with other Marines. You don't even know the guy you just met, but if you're both Marines, you're automatically good friends and trust each other much more than you would a random stranger. Marines usually look out for each other in dangerous situations. What I'm about to tell you was the complete opposite. I had gone out with some buddies of mine that I had known from the Corps for quite some time. We always had each other's backs no matter what the situation. I often recall my friends getting so drunk they would puke, and I would always be the one, drunk myself, to clean up the mess and take care of them, even putting them to bed. I had full trust in every Marine I ever met. I had been to several parties with loads of people I had met and never had any trouble. I had never felt threatened when surrounded by so many of America's finest. In fact, I often made a lot more friends at these parties and kickbacks. The last party I had gone to was a month before what happened. I had made some new friends. I was eager to hang out with new people because I was new to the base and had only been there a few months. I only had about 3 really close friends, and they were all assigned to different units and had different work schedules, so it was difficult to hang out with anyone. My buddies were at the party I had gone to prior. It was a female Marine that lived off base that was throwing a party, and she invited my friend, which in turn had invited a whole group of friends. Luckily, we all had that day and the next day off so we could drink all night and recover the next day before going back into work. We went to the party, and it was the usual. Loud music, lots of cool people, beer pong, girls, and of course, lots of alcohol. I had made a few new friends and had gotten their numbers, and this is where it gets a little weird. One of the guys I had been outside smoking with and talking to kept insisting we hang out sometime and that his friends would love to meet me and how cool I was. This was odd, because usually Marines are kind of egotistic and don't usually compliment other Marines, especially junior Marines such as myself. After some time talking about work and politics and our favorite types of beer, I decided that the guy was decent and I would try to hang out with him sometime. I got his number and gave him mine. When it was all said and done, my group and I had left, got some food, and went home. 2 days later, I got a text from a random number. Now, when I get people's phone numbers, I always program their name into my phone and in parentheses where I met them, until I know them well enough that a reminder is not needed. I do this because I'm a very social person, and I talk to loads of people. The random number asked if it was me, and I replied, "Yes, who is this?" I got no response for 2 hours. I had totally forgotten the strange text until I got another text. It was just an address followed by the words, "Small party, alcohol provided." Once again I asked who it was. No reply. It became even odder to me because when I give my number to people, I always tell them not to give my number out or to ask me first. I never have random numbers text my phone no matter how many people I give my number to. I was working the next day, and as I said before, I didn't like to go to parties unless I'm off work for at least 2 days after. It's part of being somewhat responsible while being irresponsible. That way my personal life doesn't affect my work. Needless to say, I didn't end up going out. A few days later, I got another text from a different random number with the same content. An address, this one being different from the last, and the words, "Small party, alcohol provided." I replied again with, "Who is this?" No reply. For the next few weeks, I was really busy at work and often stayed overnight at the building I worked in, so I didn't even think about going out. I kept getting the same message from a different number every 3 to 4 days, all with a different address, but the same text. "Small party, alcohol provided." After about the 5th or 6th message I had received, I stopped replying and figured maybe a group of Marines had put me on some kind of a list of people to party with and was sending out a mass text to everyone. Coming to this conclusion in my head, I knew that I'd be off for 3 days the following week, which was rare for me, and from all the stress at work, I knew I wanted to go out. I planned on my buddies and me showing up at one of these small parties where the alcohol was provided. Something you should know about the Marine Corps is the fact that the branch was established in Tun Tavern in Philadelphia November 10th, 1775. A tavern is a bar for those of you that don't know, so it's in our nature to want to drink, and what better way to drink than free alcohol? I had messaged my 3 friends, but all of them told me they had to either work or had other plans. Not planning on going anymore, I just kept focusing on my work. The following day was Friday, my day off, but there were issues at work, and my sergeant of mine was being a royal asshole, so I ended up at work until around 2000 in the evening. Stressed out and pissed off, I made my way home. Upon arriving home, my phone had buzzed in the car. I had ignored it until I had gotten inside. Slamming the door in frustration, I pulled my phone out, and what do you know? A small party text for 2300 that night. It was perfect in my mind to blow off some steam. I got all ready and left early to go to this party alone. Not knowing much of the area, I used Google Maps to help me find the location. It brought me to a rundown motel, but I didn't think much of it. Probably just some Marines that live in the barracks or on base and just wanted a party off of base. And what better than a cheap motel? I got out of the car and headed towards the door, and then realized the message never said which room. I pulled my phone out and texted the number asking for a room and saying that I was there. Once again, no reply. I figured if I pass some of the doors I'll hear some Marines being loud and music playing and find the room. However, walking up and down in front of the rooms, I didn't hear much. Everything was relatively quiet. Giving up, I decided maybe I had the wrong location or the party was canceled and I headed back to my car. I started pulling my keys out when I noticed a guy sitting in a truck that had parked in the spot in front of my car, but his truck was off. That's when it happened. Right as I noticed him, another man came from around the truck walking towards me in a kind of power walk with some aggression. I thought to myself, oh fuck. I tried to get in my car quick, but the guy was too close, so I turned around, planning on running as I completed my 180. As I turned around, I saw 2 more guys right behind me, and right as I saw them, all I remember was darkness. I assumed they hit me with something, because when I woke up, I had the biggest headache. I was extremely groggy, and it took me a minute to wake up and figure out what was going on. When I finally regained full consciousness, I was freaking out. I was in a dreadful panic because I realized I couldn't move and I was in a room I had never seen before. No one was around, but I was tied to a bed. My hands were zip-tied together, my feet spread out and tied to the bottom bedposts, and my head was being held down with duct tape. I felt blood dripping from my head and rolling down onto my shoulders. I then heard someone talking from the room next door. All I could make out was, I don't want to kill him. I just want to have some fun with him. I fucking hate boots, and this is what they deserve. If you don't know what a boot is, it's a brand new junior Marine that just hit the operating forces. That was me. I had been in the Marine Corps a little over a year, and I was only a private first class. Hearing this, now I knew these guys were Marines. I then heard something coming from a door that was only a few feet away from me, what I assumed was a bathroom. It was muffled screams, clearly from a male. Even more scared out of my mind, I tried to calm down and assess my situation. I was completely naked, and the room was freezing. Looking around the room, only able to move my eyes, I noticed that my clothes were perfectly folded right in front of the bed on the chair. I knew that I had a knife in my jacket and a box cutter in my pants pocket, thinking to myself, if I can just get to my clothes, I can escape. Now, my dad's a cop, and throughout picking his brain a lot as a kid, I knew that zip ties can only hold for so long until the plastic gets stripped. Knowing this, I started biting viciously on one of the two zip ties and used all of my strength in an attempt to pull him apart. Each time I failed due to the high amount of pain it was causing. I chewed some more and made another attempt. It felt like it had been hours, but it was probably only about 10 minutes. Finally breaking loose one of the zip ties, my hands were free, and I rushed to finish freeing my head and feet. In a panic that the men that were holding me would walk through the door that connected the two motel rooms any moment, I tried to quickly but quietly lock the deadbolt on the door. After that, I grabbed the knife that was still inside the inside breast pocket of my leather jacket, opened it, and placed it on the bed within arm's reach as I tried to at least put my pants and shoes on. Still hearing muffled talk from next door, I used the phone in the room to call the police. I didn't say anything on the phone because I didn't want the men to hear me, but I knew that if I called and left the phone, they would come. I heard another muffled scream from the door that was now behind me. After finding my phone and keys in the drawer under the television, I was about to open the front door and make a run for it, when again, another muffled scream from the bathroom. Fuck, it's probably another Marine, I thought to myself. I was still panicking, but I had calmed down enough to regain my bearing and think a little more clearly. I had made the decision that if anyone walked into that room and didn't have fresh towels or a badge and a gun, that I was going to stab them in fear for my life. I quickly opened the door, only to see another junior Marine hogtied with duct tape. He was beaten badly, bleeding, and he looked like he had been raped, because there were used condoms on the ground as well as a purple dildo and lube next to the sink. I told him that I was going to help him, and to not scream or the men next door might come. I cut the duct tape, and all he could do was cry and whimper, and in a quivering voice he said, "Thank you," over and over. From the beating he had taken, he was extremely shaky standing up and could barely walk, so in a rush, I said, "Fuck it," and I picked him up in a fireman carry and ran as fast as I could. We were on the second floor of the motel, and as I made my way down the stairs, I looked back and I saw a man chasing me. Still with my knife in my hand, I ran with the other Marine on my shoulders. The man caught up to me quick, and I dropped the Marine and placed myself between him and the man. Now angry, I started walking towards the man armed with my 8-inch blade. I had my knife, I knew how to use it, and I could see no weapon in his hand, so I started yelling at him that I had already called the police, and that if he got any closer, I was going to kill him. He looked older than me, late 20s I'd say, and he looked scary as hell. I knew he was a Marine just from the way he looked. His haircut and demeanor was a dead giveaway. While I am yelling and screaming at the guy, some people came out of their rooms and were watching the whole situation. Then someone yelled that they were calling the police. After standing there what felt like an eternity, I charged at the man, and he took off running back up the stairs. At this point, the rest of the men had come out of the room and were looking over the balcony. They all looked shocked to see me. The man started yelling at them to grab the keys, telling them that the police had already been called. I picked the Marine up off the ground and beelined it to my car. I sped off down the road and parked at a Walmart in the very front where everyone could see us, just in case those men tried following me. I then called the police on my phone, actually talking to them this time and telling them everything that happened. An ambulance showed up and took the other Marine and me to the hospital. I had a bad concussion from the blow I took to the back of the head, but I wasn't worried about myself. The Marine I had saved had 3 broken ribs, a fractured ankle, and a broken arm. The next day I went to the police station and gave them all the information and the best description I could. I let my whole chain of command know what happened, and I got a full week off to recover. They want me to go to a counselor, but I just don't feel like it's going to help. I talked to the other Marine, and it turns out he was also a PFC and had been getting the same text messages I was. He had been there for 2 days and is extremely traumatized by what happened. I talk to him all the time and try to be there for him as much as I can. He's a really nice guy, and it haunts me knowing that what happened to him was going to happen to me as well. About a month later, The police told me that the guy I met at the party was arrested and asked the two of us to come and identify them before he was released to the MPs. It was the same guy I had seen in the truck in front of my car, the man that was luring young junior Marines so his buddies could rape and hurt them. He's now in military prison, but I'd prefer to see him dead. They still haven't found the other 3 guys that were involved, which kind of freaks me out. They could be working somewhere on base with me, and I wouldn't even know it, because I only saw 2 of their faces clearly. They could be one of my corporals or sergeants one day, or they could see me around the base somewhere. Since then, I never go anywhere without a weapon and my buddies. I still work and do what I need to. I'm just a lot more careful about it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you would like a chance to have your story featured in an upcoming video, make sure you check the description for information on how to submit your stories. So as I mentioned in my last video, I'm doing a little bit of a giveaway, and I've chosen the first 3 winners. I've chosen 1 winner from Facebook, 1 from Twitter, and 1 from the comments section. If you see or hear your name, make sure you go check your messages on whatever platform you shared the hashtag #YourMakerMilitia on. If you don't hear your name, don't worry, because I'm going to go ahead and pick a few more winners on this video as well. So make sure you're commenting down below with the hashtag #YourMakerMilitia, as well as retweeting and sharing my Facebook post for the video with the hashtag #YourMakerMilitia. The winner of one of my new YourMakerMilitia shirts on Twitter is Jackie Marsucci. Congratulations, Jackie, and I really appreciate you sharing my videos. Make sure you go check your Twitter private messages and send me back the information I need so I can get this ordered for you. The person winning a new shirt from Facebook is Ravel Robinson, so make sure you go check your inbox as well, sir. And the last one I'm going to do today will be for a travel mug, and that's strictly because of the comment they left. And that person is Camellia Hansen. And the comment read, "If the travel mug isn't one of the grand prizes, do please count me out. Hashtag #YourMakerMilitia. I love coffee, and a travel mug is perfect for me, not only for containing nice, delicious, and hot coffee, but also as a weapon against stalkers and alike. I bet nothing hits as hard as a YourMaker travel mug. Someone please win the mug and always have it with you, since should bad things occur, you can hit them with it and scream, 'Meet your maker.'" So once again, if you heard your name, make sure you go check your private messages on whatever social outlet you had shared it on. If you didn't hear your name, make sure you're retweeting and sharing my Facebook post with the hashtag #YourMakerMilitia. If you don't have a Facebook and a Twitter, feel free to comment #YourMakerMilitia below. And if you want to have the most chance to get something, share it on all 3. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you in the next video. And just remember, it's always scarier if it's true. I was submitted a question on Twitter that I thought would be perfect, leaving it open to hear all of your answers. So I'm going to ask a question, and feel free to leave your answers below. Do you ever wonder what would happen if somebody posted a video of themselves on Pornhub, of them just playing video games? Like PewDiePie. That's something I've actually never thought about, but ever since they asked it, now I can't stop thinking about it. Maybe I should try it. Maybe I should upload this video on Pornhub. Let's see what happens.